Is it the temperatures that vary from 20 degrees Celsius in the day to minus 125 degrees Celsius at night? How about the dust storms containing fine toxic particles that cover the entire planet every few Martian years, lasting months? Or maybe it's two moons that are named after twin sons of the war god Ares, representing fear and terror. The red planet is Elon Musk's target destination for humanity in the future, but is this actually a possibility? I'm not so sure, and this is why. The idea of humans stepping foot on Mars has evolved from a distant fantasy to a real possibility, with missions planned for the 2030s by space agencies like NASA and SpaceX. However, despite all the excitement surrounding Mars exploration, there are still many misconceptions about the viability of human survival on the planet. The common misconceptions are that Mars is just like Earth but colder, Mars has enough water to support life, or that Mars is uninhabited and lifeless. If all of these were true, there would definitely not be as much uncertainty around the trip to Mars as there has been, unless there are major findings that the public haven't been made aware of. Elon Musk knows that trying to repopulate our species on Mars is almost impossible. So why does he seem so confident about it? It seems like he is using it as a marketing tactic to not only make him look smarter than he may be, but to attract further public support. And if this is the case, I am not afraid to admit that he is a genius, just not in the space exploration field yet. While Mars shares some similarities with Earth, it is far more hostile. The atmosphere is extremely thin, composed mostly of carbon dioxide, and lacks the protective ozone layer that shields Earth from harmful radiation. The temperature can vary over 100 degrees Celsius in less than 24 hours. Imagine going to work in the morning and the temperature is 10 degrees. But once you step outside at the end of the day, you're stepping into temperatures lower than minus 100 degrees. Every day at work would be like preparing for a trip to Antarctica, but it's colder. These conditions just wouldn't be suitable for human survival, as our bodies would take far too long trying to adapt to this climate. But let's say that we could end up adapting to these conditions. How scarce is basic human survival needs, like water to access? The majority of Martian water is trapped in the polar ice caps and beneath the planet's surface in the form of ice deposits and permafrost. There is also a small amount of water vapor in the thin Martian atmosphere, but it is not nearly enough to support human needs without significant technological intervention. We would need advanced drilling and mining equipment capable of operating in extreme conditions. Setting up the infrastructure to locate, mine, and process ice could take years, with a high chance that the finite water is not enough for the growing human colony. Given that this can be achieved, we then get onto a large issue that we face on Earth as a result of human behavior: recycling. The water would have to be recycled efficiently to reduce any waste that may occur, as water will be rare amongst communities on the red planet. If it can't be done on Earth, I wouldn't be optimistic about it on a whole other planet, where there are bigger issues to face, like having to deal with the dust storms every few Martian years, which is approximately 687 Earth days. Dust storms on Mars are common and can occur at any time of the year. They range from small, localized events to massive, planet-wide storms. Not only do dust storms dramatically reduce visibility, which blocks off sunlight and potential solar energy power sources, but the fine, toxic dust can infiltrate machinery, habitats, and spacesuits, leading to serious health risks. And remember when we were forced to stay home in 2020? Imagine dealing with this anytime one of these storms decide to happen. I don't know about you, but staying locked inside was far from convenient. And I'd like to see the people that didn't obey these rules try to disobey them and go outside during a dust storm. I have a question for you. Let's say, for example, everybody on Earth made it to Mars at the same time, on the same rocket. Do you think that people in power would keep their role, or would the social hierarchy be completely ignored? Because money would be almost worthless at first on Mars. Think of how detrimental it would be if there was no social hierarchy on Mars. This is another huge issue that is never spoken about. But not everybody is a good person. The desperation for survival at first would cause chaos and essentially turn into the purge. Due to the lack of law and order, things we take for granted on Earth becomes an obstacle that needs to be overcome on Mars. Now, while there is no concrete evidence that there is life on Mars, it would be foolish to assume that it does not exist. with the limited amount of information we have about the red planet and knowing that water exists on Mars. Researchers believe that Mars most likely used to be home to life, but whether it still is or not is completely unknown. Water is not the only thing that hints at life on Mars either. NASA's Curiosity rover detected complex organic molecules in Martian soil and rocks, which are potential building blocks for life. Methane has been detected on Mars, which can be produced by geological processes or microbial life. A Martian meteorite from Mars was also found in Antarctica, containing structures that some scientists initially interpreted as fossilized microbial life. Elon Musk was definitely right about there being life on Mars. However, the barriers seem far too problematic for us to coexist with the potential life on the red planet. Unlike Earth, Mars has 2 moons orbiting it, and they both have some very strange characteristics. Deimos is the smaller moon out of the pair, at around 7.7 miles in diameter, which, to put in perspective, is very small compared to Earth's moon, which has a diameter of approximately 2,159 miles. Deimos takes around 30 hours to complete one orbit around Mars, and its carbonaceous chondrite surface, which is very similar to asteroids, raising the idea that it may be a captured asteroid. Phobos is also believed to be a captured asteroid, but has a few differences, like its larger size of 13.9 miles in diameter and its distance from Mars at around 3,700 miles from the planet's surface. Earth's moon is 238,855 miles away from Earth, and that sometimes looks like it isn't that far away. These moons are major targets of research and should tell a lot into the history of Mars, which will help with future expedition plans. Elon's current plans seem to be progressing rapidly with his new spacecraft invention, Starship. It is in testing mode so far, but it is definitely looking very promising, with videos of the spacecraft seen successfully landing back onto Earth with a slow and controlled descent. The spacecraft will be able to take 100 people at a time, with the necessary resources also being able to be carried up by Starship. But Elon is planning on sending up the resources before the first humans even step foot on Mars, to not only test the spacecraft, but also to prepare the people on the mission as they arrive. Musk believes that this invention will drastically lower costs of space expeditions, making it much more sustainable and opening up a door of opportunities. While I believe that the journey to Mars may be a success, I see it being near impossible for humans to eventually thrive on Mars due to how extreme the environment on Mars can be and the limited amount of resources that will exist there. Elon Musk is planning to combat this by potentially releasing greenhouse gases in order to warm the atmosphere and eventually creating self-sustaining colonies on Mars. One thing we know for certain is that humans are good at releasing greenhouse gases to warm the atmosphere, so that shouldn't be a problem. But what do you think our chances of survival as a species are on Mars? Do you think Elon Musk's plans are a possibility? Or, like me, do you think that the task is far bigger than Musk is imagining? And what do you think the largest issue would be? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, why not press the like button and check out my other videos. Thanks for watching.